What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new podcast episode of There's Mascara on My Pillow. And I know that the lighting is not perfect. We will start anyway. So it's a Friday evening. A lot of people go out to eat on Friday evenings. So if you're one of those people who would already overthink going to the restaurant on Monday, then this video or podcast episode is for you. Or if you're just someone who overthinks if they will overeat on a daily basis, their breakfast, their lunch, their dinner. So I had binge eating disorder for years. Then I downloaded a not lovely, calorie tracker app a couple months ago. And since then, I've struggled with very restrictive eating. So food is just always on my mind. And there are some strategies I use to not obsess over it. Whether or not you're suffering from binge eating disorder or a restrictive form or something, in the middle, this video is helpful. Let's get to the first advice. Time windows. So you will create time windows for when you can think about food, when you are allowed to think about food. So outside of like the normal planning of like, okay, what do I want to eat for lunch now, so you will always only think about food if it's necessary in the moment, and then besides that, nothing. You can start with one time window, let's say like 3 p.m. where you have 10 minutes to think about food or look at like TikToks whatsoever about food, and then slowly maybe even say, okay, only 5 minutes, and then there's no time window at all. And you also have to be very aware of your thoughts for this technique to work. So we go back to mindfulness, which is basically observing your thoughts, right? Because if you don't know that you think these thoughts and it's kind of like a CD playing in the background and you don't even notice, like someone talking over you or something, then obviously you can't stop yourself in your inner food voice. So the second thing is stop extrinsic circumstances that make you think of food. My entire FYP on TikTok For You page would be full and just filled with these mukbangs and food videos, recipe videos in the evening, and I feel like the algorithm picked up on the fact that I would start to watch a lot of TikToks in the evening about food because I would be very, very hungry in the evening. Just if you see these TikToks, just tap on not interested. And that's hard because there's something so fulfilling about watching other people eat and cook and mukbang, whatever, but it will make you think about food. So no, not worth it. Third thing, stop looking at the calories and adding them up. It will leave you worried, constantly rethinking every bite. That is so crazy what that does to you and makes you think about food 24/7. So what I do now is I go to the fridge, and literally today I actually made a TikTok about this. I ate peas and fish together as a snack. And other people would be like, are you crazy? I am crazy. Yeah, I am. But I will just pick random things that sound good and I will add them and just not think about it. Okay. Obviously, there's some nutritional knowledge that also goes into this. If you want to know how to build a nutritious meal, look at my last episodes. I talked about this. But like on that basis of like, okay, what's also the most nutritious? What's giving you protein, fats, whatsoever? And what's the tastiest in this moment to me? I will pick, using this criteria. And random things are being picked. Stop looking at the calories is not easy. You can honestly do the very same thing with time windows here when it comes to counting calories. you can be like, okay, I will only look at the calories in the morning when it's like from a breakfast, but not in the evening. So start slow. The next point is very much kind of the same. So if you track your calories and you weigh your food, and you use an app for that, and you can't immediately give that habit up because you've been doing it for so long and it's an obsession, you can weigh your food throughout the day. You can put it in your notes app, not the calorie app. So you know that you could calculate that, you could put that into your app maybe tomorrow or in the evening, and then you can see what you ate, how many calories you consumed throughout the day. So you still feel like you have that control. It's just more so about, later. Well, we're doing it later. So what we're doing here is, again, creating kind of a time window for that activity. And the crazy thing is, because I'm doing this exact strategy right now, how much it makes a difference. Okay, you could check, you could, okay, and maybe you can tomorrow or in the evening, but just like not have the calorie app around throughout the day. It is scary. Like the first day I did that, I actually almost cried for various reasons and feelings more so, but it's so worth it. Like you can feel the freedom come in, like, hi, how you doing? That TikTok sound. Next thing, building self-trust through establishing a new healthy habit of listening to your satiation and hunger. If you can trust yourself that you won't overeat, you kind of let go of that thinking pattern that's like, you need to weigh your food and you need to track your calories on that app, otherwise you will consume too much food. So learning how to not overeat, that's very much a habit that comes with binge eating disorder. If you want to know how to stop overeating, because that's such a huge topic, look at my last episodes. I feel like I talked about a lot of different approaches. So establishing the self-trust will help you not think about food, not track your food as much. You can trust yourself. Say you live together with your friend and you come home and you're like, okay, I can trust Lisa. She definitely cleaned today. She's always doing that, create a pattern of not overeating, and you can be sure that this will continue. And so you can be sure that probably also today you won't overeat either. Why would you? You haven't in like 3 weeks or like even 3 days already built a lot of self-trust. The sixth thing you've heard a lot, not restricting. And one thing to establish that, because we like to, black and white think and be like, oh, I ate one chocolate bar. This can't be real. I messed up. How to make this food more normal. And this is one strategy that really helped me. Like out of all strategies and tips and everything I've seen, definitely one of the most helpful things. Also a very like little habit that if I would have heard that, I would have been like, it won't help anyways. I mean, that's such a big problem, and that's such a small answer to such a big problem. Probably won't help, right? It does. So let's say you want a chocolate bar. What you're gonna do is you're gonna, because that little chocolate bar is not gonna fill you up, right? You're gonna eat that with your lunch. Let's say you have a salad and fish and a chocolate bar. Mixing up healthy, quote unquote, and unhealthy, quote unquote, foods together, eating them together, not like mixing them. I would not recommend that. I feel like you will not feel so good afterwards. I feel like that won't taste as good, but that makes it so normal. When you have trigger foods, it makes such a big difference, because you associate these daily kind of meals that you have, like salad, fish, meat, or soy, normal foods, quote unquote, with quote unquote abnormal or not good foods, okay? let's say you always fight with this one person. You can associate the person and fighting, and you're like, yeah, this will probably happen. If I meet this person, we'll probably fight. So that's such a dumb analogy. Oh my god. But you know where I'm coming from. You start to associate two things. I mean, conditioning with like Pavlov's dog and everything. So you're conditioning yourself, being like, that's normal. Because, restriction makes you think of that one food that you restrict on, right? So getting out of that restriction, that's one way to approach that. And then therefore you won't restrict. Therefore, you won't think about food as much. Therefore, you won't obsess over it. So these are just some practical tips. And I am, as I said, on this journey right now. And the saying, letting go, how does it go again? Holding on is so much harder than letting go. It's so true. At the same time, letting go when it comes to an eating disorder, a toxic habit, an obsessive habit that you have, it feels like you're losing control. Because, it's all about control here with restriction. But the thing is, I'm starting to realize, dude, there was a time before I started tracking and weighing food and doing the most. There was a time before that, in my binge eating recovery, where I started intuitively eating, picking out foods, protein, fats, all the kind of knowledge in my head, choosing food that I liked in the moment, and that shit worked. I did not restrict. I ate like my trigger foods. I started to eat my trigger foods and slowly approach them. Eat a chocolate bar instead of the whole chocolate, go to the grocery store, buy the small portion of it. I started to do that and it became normal. Then I started calorie tracking and I fell into the restriction again. So what I just want to say with that was, for me, I experienced both ways of like intuitively eating, quote unquote, what they call it. Like basically just binge eating recovery, and then the very restrictive way. And why is it so great for us to restrict, Because it sounds counterintuitive, right? Because it gives you this insane feeling of control. And I'm a person, I like the DM control. Like, give me all the control. We like control because it means safety, and that might have been something that in the past we weren't able to have. But we don't need to go back and heal our inner child for that eating thing, okay? We don't. Realizing that you have the control is one of the most powerful tools you can have, and not only when it comes to binging, when it comes to recovery of restrictive eating disorders. It is freedom in so many ways, in so many areas of your life. I can do this. I don't need my colleague for this project, the money from my father for this project. I can make my own money. So really the answer to feeling like you're in control is actually establishing new habits, establishing a binge-free streak, or let's say a streak of, slow eating, seeing small little changes that build self-trust. That's how I did it in a healthy way before I started to track my calories. And that worked, and I was very happy. You will release weight naturally, but the biggest benefit of this all, honestly, is to feel like you don't need anything else but yourself to be in control. Anyways, guys, I'm sorry the lighting was so bad. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great Sunday or a great evening, week, whatsoever. And if you're listening to this and you're in a dark period of time in your life, man, look at all those people who made it out of it, I heard Eminem speak on Juice WRLD's new album, and it's called Eminem Speaks. Maybe you should listen to it. And he talks about his addiction, drug addiction, and how he got out of it. And, even though you feel like you're so alone with your binge eating disorder or with your eating disorder, there's so many people suffering from it, and so many people just in general suffering from mental health issues all over the world. We're all one, and even though we all suffer because of different reasons, we feel very similar feelings of sadness, hopelessness, anger, frustration. These are the fine connections between us. That's why we're all one shared human experience. Have a good time whenever you're watching this. I'll see you next Sunday for another episode of Ice Cubes and Peppers.